Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to a new series and a new episode of NBA 2K MyNBA. And as you can see from the title and the thumbnail, we are bringing back the Seattle Sonics and in a pretty nice and beautiful way. Well, I don't know. It's on 2K. It's not super sentimental or anything like that. You can't really get super attached for something like this. But yeah, we are bringing this franchise back. As you can see in front of me, NBA said that we are just going to restart the history for the Sonics. So we don't have a championship technically. This is a brand new franchise, basically like the Sonics never happened before, but you can't erase all the memories that were formed in Seattle over the years with the Sonics, like the 90s with the 1996 Sonics that made it to the finals, I believe, that year, and lost to the Bulls. But they had, some legends like the glove Gary Payton and an acrobatic and athletic scoring power forward and Sean Kemp as well. With some other guys like Dale Ellis played there for a little bit. Jack Sigma was on the Sonics, I believe, in the 80s. This team has a lot of history. Xavier McDaniel, the X-Men. There's been some really good players. And the most recent guy, I guess you could say Jeff Green. Jeff Green did play for this team, I'm pretty sure. And then Kevin Durant as well. Not Darren Collison, Nick Collison. Like, this team has a lot of history that is now being rewritten and almost erased in a way. If you look at the Thunder, they do have some of our history, that being a championship and the multitude of multitude of playoff appearances and experiences. But now we are back in Seattle, and we're getting ready to start this season. This team is phenomenal in terms of value. Like, this team is going to be worth a lot of money because Seattle has been waiting for an NBA team for years, and now they finally get one. And a new arena is built as well. It's the Climate Change Arena, no longer sharing with the Seattle Storm. So let me show you the roster, and you can kind of form an opinion based on how we're looking. All right, so starting with the guards, let me pull this up for you. These are the 5 guards that are on the team. We do have a surprise guard later in the video after I introduce everything else. I'll show you who that guard is. You might have a guess. Oh, yeah, you might have a guess. You could guess. You could definitely get this guess just based off the Sonics and history and how they moved and stuff like that. But then let me not give it away. Starting off with a guy we signed for 1 year, that being Tre Mann. Tre Mann has played very well for the Hornets, and also he was okay with the Thunder. He just never got enough play time to show what he's really capable of, which is being a 15 to 20 point per game scorer. And I think he's somebody we want to try to keep around after this season. We don't think it's going to be a great year, but try and keep him off the bench after this season if we do get a better guard. And I like the way he plays. He's got a very smooth scoring game. Not great defensively, but can compete if we get him to. And then you'll start to notice a trend in our other guards. Davion Mitchell, they call him Mr. Off Night for a reason. He plays defense at a high level, like a super high level. So we signed him. We drafted him in the expansion draft. The Raptors not having enough money to contain him, and then we also snagged their other small defensive-oriented guard, and Jamal Shed, out of the University of Houston. Played there for a really long time and kind of learned how to play basketball the right way, make mistakes, rarely make mistakes, and then just play basketball mistake-free, like I just said. And I'm excited to have these 2 guards that can defend the ball at a high level and make some good decisions. Then a change of play style at this next guard. Jordan Hawkins, somebody who can shoot the lights out coming out of UConn. He coached hard. He's been coached hard by Dan Hurley. He's played pretty well for the Pelicans under Willie Green, and he's a really good shooter from not only the 3 but also the mid-range, and hopefully we can get him to compete defensively as well. And then our third point guard of this is TJ McConnell. Kind of fits the mold of Davion Mitchell and Jamal Shed, but he is a lot better offensively than those 2 guys are, honestly. His mid-range pull-up game from like 10 feet is automatic. I think you saw that in the playoffs this past year in real life against the Knicks. He just couldn't miss. Against the Bucks, he couldn't miss either. I don't know if he played well against the Celtics. I never really watched any of those games. I think that was more of Andrew Nemhard showing his value for that team. But yeah, TJ McConnell is an absolutely phenomenal guard, and that kind of rounds out our guard rotation. I'll show you the last guard here after I'm done with the rest of the team, like I said, but you can kind of see the identity we're trying to shape with this team. And up next is the wings. The wings are basically all the same mold as well. Haywood Highsmith, somebody who defends the ball at a high level and knocks down threes at a high level. Vince Williams, same thing goes for him. He had a down year with the Grizzlies. He was injured a lot. They just said, well, we can't protect everybody. Jalen Wells emerged for them. Gigi Jackson, probably the smarter pick out of all those, out of Vince Williams, between those two guys. So they took Gigi Jackson. So we drafted Vince Williams. And then the guy who was our first pick in this draft was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. And KCP is 3-and-D, the epitome of 3-and-D. So I really like having them. He's also a veteran. He's getting a little bit older, but he brings some veteran experience to our team and still has that energy and that hustle that you would want from everybody on your team. Then Josh Okogie, a bit of a wild card guy. You always know you're going to get defense and hustle from Josh Okogie. Will that corner 3-ball fall? Who knows? Who knows? He's pretty athletic too, so he's good at putbacks and dunks and stuff like that. And then our fifth and final wing, Baylor Shireman, hasn't played much at all in real life for the Celtics. Didn't play much at all for them in the past year in 2K. But Baylor Shireman is a 3-point shooter. He's got solid size as well, but yeah, we just needed some shooting. Figured, why not pick up Baylor Shireman? He can shoot the lights out. So, you always got to love to have a team or a guy like that on the team. And then the bigs, it's not many, but it's a very young and intriguing group of big men. And we're obviously going to have to sign some more as the season goes on and stuff like that. Starting off with our 6th pick in the draft. Kaman Malawach. He is a very interesting prospect in real life, and we did play against him in the Warriors series against the Pelicans, and he just fucking killed us. I mean, he was phenomenal. That's not really the reason why I took him, but it definitely didn't hurt that he was so amazing in 2K already. But in real life, he has a huge wingspan. He's 7'2". He's a big guy, honestly, for how tall he is and how lengthy he is. And he's a really great rim protector, a tremendous vertical threat for lobs and putbacks and stuff like that, and just short shots in the paint. Protects the rim at a high level, like I just said, but he's also got an intriguing offensive game to the point where he can kind of knock down the 3-ball. He's got very nice touch. He's a pretty solid free throw shooter as well, and he's somebody I can see, being a hub at times. Obviously he's gonna set amazing screens. He's a big guy, great roll man. He can pop sometimes in the midi or the 3-ball, and he can help us space the floor. He is the big man of the future for us, and he is really the start of the future for us. I don't think he'll be the future, but he's the start of the future for us. Next, we have a young guy who didn't play at all. He's not going to play at all in real life. So, Deron Holmes is technically a rookie, although I think he did play in 2K, as you could probably hear me looking it up right now. Deron Holmes, no, he didn't. So he's a rookie this year for us, which is nice. That's what I like to see. But 6'10" out of Dayton. He's got a very interesting game. He is somebody who can kind of put the ball on the deck at 6'10", but he also has some traditional big man traits, like protecting the rim, rebounding, and his post defense. But on offense, I mean, he can kind of do a little bit of everything. He's not phenomenal at one thing. I will say he is pretty athletic, but he's got a 3-ball, he's got a midi, he's a 3-level scorer. He can handle the ball a little bit, he's athletic. Like, Deron Holmes is very interesting when you watch his tape out of Dayton. There's a reason why that team made the I think it was the round of 32 after they beat UNR. He is a really, really intriguing and solid prospect, and somebody that I hope can turn into a nice forward for us. I mean, he might be able to move down to the 3, if his health is back to normal after that. I think he was an ACL tear or an Achilles tear. Who knows? He's 23 years old, so he's a bit older, but he does have those typical older college guys that come into the league traits. You know, they know how to play right, they play well, they're just smart and more savvy than younger guys are. So hopefully DeRon Holmes is a phenomenal player for us. And then the last big on this team, Moussa Diabate. He is an incredible rebounder and an incredible athlete. And the last incredible he has is hustle. He is unreal when it comes to hustle and grabbing rebounds and just jumping out of the gym. And I mean, okay, he offensive fouls a lot grabbing rebounds, but I mean, refs are, allowing him and rewarding him for his hustle and efforts, and it pays off. He grabs a shit ton of rebounds, like so many, it's insane. And you watch his motor and how athletic he is, you can kind of see why he grabs those rebounds when you pair that motor with his athleticism. He's a nasty dunk machine. He's great on lobs, so we're going to be throwing some lobs up to him as well. But yeah, Moussa Diabate, very, very great, serviceable, rebounding big that I think is going to fit very well for us. He's 6'9". He has a 65 3 ball, so maybe he'll be able to space the floor a little bit at times. He can take those end of shot clock grenade threes if needed. But yeah, that's the roster. And obviously I'll show you the surprise guy later. Now on to the team philosophy. We got 4 things we want to focus on with this initial team, and try to keep some of these things focused on as the years goes on, as the season goes on. Try and building this team. Number 1 is defense. That's our top priority. You can see from our roster, we've got a lot of defenders, like a lot. Perimeter and in the paint as well. Just very well-rounded defenders. I like to keep it that way because defense raises your floor so much, and your ceiling is really raised by your offense. If you can always play defense, you can basically be in every game, unless you are god-awful offensively, and still sometimes you'll be able to keep yourself in a game. Number 2, hustle. Diabate's on this team. That's somebody who hustles a lot. Davion Mitchell, TJ McConnell, Josh Okogie. There's some really good hustle guys on this team. Vince Williams, that's kind of how you have to build teams. Haywood Highsmith. If you can hustle, that also raises your floor. Run and gun. We've got a lot of guys on this team. It's not a super young team, but we've got a lot of depth, and I'm willing to use all 13 guys if I have to. So, if everybody can keep running and running and running and running, we get up more shots. We can set our defense if we score quicker. That's what I want to do, run and gun. And then number 4, swing it. There's no star on this team. Trey Mann is probably our best on-ball option. And then after that, it's bunch of role-playing, three-point shooting defenders. It's not anything crazy. No star players on this team. Swing it. Another yawn from me. Another yawn. Unbelievable. But swing it. If you can swing it, you can get the defense out of rotation and move around and just get guys out of position. You can find easy shots. Use the full 24 seconds on the shot clock if you have to. So that's the team philosophy. Our coach, Lindsey Allen, I think it is Lindsey Allen. No, Lindsey Allen played for the Chicago Sky. But we do have a girl coach. Women's coach. We do have the first women's coach in NBA history, that being Vicky Allen, who is a defensive-minded and defensive-oriented head coach. She only has a 2.5-star offense, but 4 on the defense and 3 in charisma. She's going to try and get our guys playing defense. And, it's kind of weird to have a women's coach, right? Because it's men, women's, blah, 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 all this, that, and the third. Can a women coach really control the locker room? Yes, they can. Women in sports is one of the best things to happen, one of the best things I've discovered, watching WNBA and stuff like that, and college sports. Shout out to Caitlin Clark. She really sparked my interest, but I believe Vicky Allen is going to be the leader for this team. For how long, who knows? This is a really flawed roster in the terms of winning, so we're willing to cut her a lot of slack. Already talked to the GM about that and the owner, and they love Vicky Allen, so I'm all in with Vicky Allen as well. The surprise player that will be on our team is a little bit of a Thunder throwback, and that being Russell Westbrook. We signed him to a 1-year, $12 million deal. He just had a really solid season in Denver, kind of a bounce back year. He didn't play too bad with LA. He did have a very great playoff series in 2023 against the Phoenix Suns, but 23-24, he was bad in the playoffs, and his three ball fell off a cliff. But he just had his best three-point shooting since his MVP season, where he shot 34% from three. He just had his second or his third best three-point shooting season of his career. So he deserves a bit of a boost there. His mid-range got a little bit better. The more he's aging, the more he is honing in on his shooting ability as you lose that athleticism. He's still a phenomenal defender, honestly. 80 perimeter defense, 81 steals, 72 block. Russell Westbrook, somebody who's going to come off the bench for us at times. Sometimes start, who knows, depends on how the season goes. But you always know you're going to get energy, hustle, and effort with Russell Westbrook. So I'm very intrigued to see how he plays for us. Let's take a look at the rotation as well. This is the starters: Davion Mitchell, Trey Mann, KCP, Haywood Highsmith, Kaman Maloach, Musa Diabate, Jordan Hawkins, Westbrook. He'll probably get more minutes than 22. I'll have to fix that. And then TJ McConnell. And, like I said, if we have to play these other guys, we will play them. Like Baylor Scheinman might get minutes. Deron Holmes definitely might get some minutes. We'll see as the season goes on who's playing better, who needs to be traded for some more value, who's maxing out their value, who's not playing good and should honestly just be released. We'll find those things out as the season goes on. But yeah, that is the introductory to this series. Next episode, which I'm going to record in like 5 minutes, just because I'm so excited to play, is this Lakers team, and it is an in-season tournament game. That's something I want to try to take seriously these first few years here, just so we can kind of get our guys acclimated to the playoff level of basketball. It's something I think Adam Silver has done a great job with. The in-season tournament and the play-in tournament, like that makes like boring basketball so much more competitive, so much more meaningful. So this will be interesting, as Westbrook plays against his former team. That's always fun to see. But this Lakers team, they have LeBron. He's in his last year. He's getting a farewell tour. So, the possible GOAT of basketball retiring. And then before we end this episode, I want to take a look at these other teams. Some very interesting moves happened this offseason. Obviously, OKC is the number one team to beat in the whole league. Makes sense. Celtics, second best team. Kind of crazy that Pritchard is better than Holiday. Holiday is somebody I would like to snag, but his contract is massive, and it goes until 2037, so I don't know how much that would be viable for us. Lakers are third. I don't know about that. Their bench is terrible. The Knicks are here. There's a lot of bad benches. There's a lot of free agents out there. Cooper Flag drafted to the Pistons. I think that's a phenomenal fit for them. He says undrafted, but he was the first pick in the draft. I just gave him a different face scan, so it says undrafted. The Bucks, not a good-looking team outside of Dame Giannis and Bobby Portis. Ajax, Karras, and AJ Green, not a great-looking team. The Mavericks, this team looks intriguing. They got Draymond, so they're the Dallas Warriors now, I guess. Very intriguing team. Sixers, Jared McCain back from injury, up to an 85 overall. The Nuggets, interesting team. They have some solid players and some okay depth. We'll see if they're good this year. The Wolves are always good in 2K because Ant is a monster. The Pacers, solid team, but with that Hallie regression and Siakam getting older, who knows? Siakam may be up for grabs. The Pelicans, DeJounte Murray, Seattle guy. I wouldn't trade for him, though. He's not a great player at this point in his career. They drafted Ace Bailey with the second pick, or I think the third pick. Interested to see how that works out. Spurs did not really get Wemby any talent, and Chris Paul did retire, so I forgot to fix that because I gave him a farewell tour on accident. The Rockets end up picking up Jimmy Butler. They got rid of Şengün. They replaced him with Jimmy Butler, and Jakob Poeltl's here. No more Fred VanVleet. This team is trying to add by subtracting, if you know what I mean. So they add a star guy. He's 36, almost 37 years old. Hopefully he plays at a high level, but Amen Thompson, I think, is the real future of this team. Jalen Green, kind of in a make it or break it year for him. You look at his numbers, scoring at least, and you're like, oh wow, that's a really good player. But inefficiencies and not a great defender, not a great decision maker. He could be on the hot seat as a player. The Hornets, they pick up Şengün. Interested to see how that team runs because Şengün kind of requires the ball to be an effective player. We'll see how that works. Warriors kind of failed Steph, and I think they're starting to realize that. Brook Lopez signs here. Cool. Who the hell is Enrique Freeman? Never heard of him actually in my life. Interesting. Blazers. Scoot gets better. How much better? Who knows? He's not been good at all in real life. This team is not looking amazing, but they do sign Warriors legend, or they drafted Warriors legend VJ Edgecombe, so that's kind of ironic because he owns that franchise in the Warriors. MyNBA. Duop Reith is still here. Interesting team. Grizzlies. I was thinking about maybe raising the overall of Desmond Bane on them, but I won't. This is a very interesting team, intriguing. Like I said, Jalen Wells is just better than Vince Williams, so they just kept him and Santi Aldama as well. Cavs, looking to kind of recreate their success from last year. They ended up going 49-33, so 2K did not like how they were playing, or just didn't like this team in Sim at all, which is weird. Really weird. Raptors, they get Fred VanVleet back from the Jakob Poeltl trade. An okay team. I forgot who they drafted. They drafted Colin Murray Boyles with the 13th pick. Kind of on brand for Masai Ujiri. The Heat losing Jimmy Butler, not really replacing him with much. Terry Rozier is definitely gone. Derek Jones Jr. definitely gone. Bam might be gone. Somebody who might be up for grabs. Tyler Hero, I think, is the guy they want to keep. He is a star. He is phenomenal. Jovic not really developing. The Magic, this team looks insane. Jalen Suggs up to an 88 overall. He just had a phenomenal season, and he's been amazing in real life. CJ McCollum, 20 point per game score. You add to that, that helps their offense a ton. They've got a ton of defense. They've got a lot of great depth. This team might be ready for a championship. I don't know yet, but they might be ready for a championship. So look out for the Magic. Clippers on the tail end of this Harden, Kawhi Leonard era. Harden did have a really good year in real life, and in 2K, Kawhi had a good year. They just didn't go anywhere. I don't even think they made the playoffs. They went 46-36. Signed Victor Oladipo. Shout out Victor Oladipo. This team is probably ready to blow it up, which is sad because that arena is phenomenal. The Washington Wizards, this team signs Chris Middleton just for some more scoring. He should not be playing over Bilal Coulibaly. I'll have to fix that. But this team is intriguing with the amount of young talent they have. They drafted Trey Johnson, a phenomenal scorer, somebody who's certainly going to benefit from Chris Middleton being there as a mentor. Jordan Poole as well too. Now can be a mentor at 26 years old, even though he does have a little bit of immaturity to his demeanor at times, but he's changed a lot since leaving the Warriors. The Kings may need to blow this thing up soon, like maybe. Fox is not getting any younger. DeMar DeRozan is certainly not getting any younger. He hurts their offense a ton, which is weird because you think he would help it a lot. Sabonis is a phenomenal player. He just may need to be on a better team. Keegan Murray's regressed a lot since year one. 41% to 35 to 38. It's not bad, but it's not who he is. Zach LaVine almost certainly on the trade block. Same thing with Lonzo Ball. Another Seattle guy in Zach LaVine, I'm pretty sure. Don't think we'd be taking a swing at him unless we were close to making the playoffs at the deadline and we needed some punch. The Suns, they have no idea what they're doing. They lost Tyus Jones. He had that one free good year for him. Also, Iguodala is not phenomenal in 2K yet, and none of their young guys have developed. They just drafted DJ Wagner. The Jazz, pretty sure they drafted Egor Demon from BYU. He's a phenomenal guy. They are still rebuilding, obviously. The Hawks, somehow at 29th in power rankings. I really think this team might be able to contend with 2K's love for the Atlanta Hawks in simulation. It's a really solid team. DeAndre Hunter is somebody to keep an eye on, though. Somebody who I might want to trade for because he's been so good in real life. 3-and-D to the max. He has been phenomenal offensively this year. They draft Liam McNeely and also keep that Duke connection alive. And Conrad Knippel, phenomenal shooter. It's a very, very, very interesting Atlanta Hawks team. Then the Brooklyn Nets, the last of the real teams in the league. They drafted Dylan Harper, somebody I think who is phenomenal in real life. He's been amazing at Rutgers. He's been trying to make his push for number one. I just think Cooper Flagg, I just think he does way more than Dylan Harper does. Not as great as a scorer as Dylan Harper, but a pretty solid passer and obviously an otherworldly defender. Cam Johnson, another guy we can keep our eyes on. I don't think he's that type of player we need just yet, but he could be in a few years. He's a phenomenal scorer. Nick Claxton is probably somebody who's going to be gone in a few, maybe halfway through the season. And Cam Thomas, another interesting guy. He could be gone as well as Brooklyn starts to fully rebuild this team. Also picking up Nolan Traore and Donnie Freeman, so a really good draft class from the Brooklyn Nets. They also pick up Mikey Williams. Then us, the Sonics, and the Vancouver Kodiaks, who I think I'm almost 100% going to change to the Las Vegas something. Just a young team with some solid depth and some veterans. Not a phenomenal team, a team that could be looking to trade all these guys at one point in the season for some trade value. But yeah, that is how the league has shaped up. That is how everybody's looking thus far. And I want to try and get more in depth with this series. With the Warriors, I feel like the tail end, I was kind of just trying to get it over with, trying to win a championship. Because, I signed like a Luka Doncic. That was insane. But this team, I want to take my time. I want to find gems. I want to find this. I want to, do storylines and stuff like that. So we'll see what I can come up with. But I appreciate your guys' support for that Warriors series. And I'm hopefully I always enjoy the support for this series, whether it's one person or 1,000 people. I'll always enjoy it. Please subscribe. We're almost at 700. I think we're at 672 now, so getting closer to that 1,000 mark. I'll see you guys next time. Appreciate it. Peace.